Hello YouTube, it's me, and today talking about fire DPSing. Yeah, fire can still keep up with other powers, and I'm gonna show you just how you can do that. Let's go to traits, powers, immolation, and I want you to copy what you see here. Go to ignition and copy what you see here. Notice I have the Eternal Flame supercharged. I'm going to talk about why I have that later on. And get your iconic powers, and you'll have one power left over to use as you like. Here's the loadout: Inferno, Burning Determination, Fiery Weapon, and Eternal Flame. Just stay tuned. Fire Burst and Flame Cascade. Let's see how to put this together. First, you want to clip first three powers all together, just like similar to ice. I'm going to compare it to ice a lot if you know the ice power. And then after you clip the first three powers, you go into your seventh power, fire bursts, and keep fire bursting. Just like Arctic Gust, keep spamming fire bursts. Here it is with the supercharge clipped with it. Eternal Flame. Notice the buff that you get from Fiery Weapon. That's it. Up. Get 10% crit damage, 15% might, 7% crit chance. I have 9% because I have the head mod. So you can see fire does very good damage. The toughest thing about fire though is getting your AM, your power back, which is thermal absorption, and your volatility, which is your AM damage, to keep going. So I'm going to explain just how you can do that. Burning Determination, your second power, best way to get into your AM. No better way than that. How do you know when your AM or power back stops? Notice this. See this flare that comes off your character right here? Whenever that happens, you need to hit Burning Determination again after your next rotation or whatever you're doing. Whenever you get knocked down like this, break out as fast as you can and hit Flame Cascade to keep your power back and AM damage to keep going. Now, why don't I use a supercharge? This is why. Look at this. Oh my god, that is sad. That's like 10k or less at CR enemies. You could just do whatever else. Inferno does more than that. Look, one hit of fire burst did way more than that entire supercharge did while it was up. You Envy Me says no way. So this is why I use Eternal Flame. Pop it the entire time for Eternal Flame is up. You're immune to control effects. And that leads me to explain the main objective as a fire DPS. The way to get the most damage out is to keep spamming that fire burst. Stay in fire burst as much as possible. Do not bother with trying to put on small DLTs. You want to clip your buffs and get into fire bursts as soon as possible. Spam fire bursts as much as possible, with the exception of losing your AM, like I mentioned before, getting knocked down and hitting a flame cascade, but get right back into fire bursts. Fire is very similar to ice. Except just like Arctic Gust, you're channeling your power, but all your damage comes at the end instead of all throughout while your hand is out. It does really good damage. It does very good damage. I love fire. The only thing that ice has over it is you're constantly throwing out damage. Fire, the damage comes at the end of the animation. But if you're using the control effect affinity mod, the D mod, that gives you control resistance, and you got a little stun resistance. It's not that often you get knocked down. Also, if supercharged, those are the only things Ice has over fire. You're low if you're running without a troller. You do not necessarily need to hit Inferno every time. You just hit Burner Determination along with your weapon buff. You'll still get your AM damage. Remember, if you don't have that blue flame while you're going from ad to ad, hit Burner Determination and go back into your rotation. I'm going to show the scoreboard right here. I'm sorry if you're in this video. I'm really not trying to show off. My tutorials, I'm trying to teach people something. I'm trying to teach that these powers that people think are lower tier, they still can do damage and keep up with Ice, Mental, Gaddis, or whatever. So this is the beginning of the raid. I want to show you how much damage I put out at the beginning of the raid, right from the start. I love going to these lower tier so-called powers and showing what they can do. The only time I'm really a top tier power is during survival mode to, you know, do the best I can. But anyways, guys, this is my Fire DPS loadout. I really hope I taught you something. That is my goal in my videos, to teach you something. This is You Envy Me. Please like and subscribe this video. Stay tuned to my channel for other DPS, tank, healer, troll videos. I'll see you later. You Envy Me out.